Hi everyone, this is Veronica and today we are going to talk about Consumer Protection Bill 2018 that has recently passed in Lok Sabha. For my video updates, you can follow me on Instagram, and the PDF of this lecture you can find on my Facebook profile. And this is a channel StudyIQ if you guys are preparing for any government exam. Our pen drive and Android courses are also available. For additional information, you can visit our website or you can call on these numbers given on the screen. So for now, why is this in the news? Because this bill has been recently passed by Lok Sabha. This bill is the Consumer Protection Bill 2018. Centre had approved a new Consumer Protection Bill in 2015 to replace the Consumer Protection Act of 1986. Now the government has recently made many changes to the bill based on the recommendations of the Parliamentary Standing Committee also, and this reworked bill which has been passed was pending for a long time and the demand for clearing it was rising every day. So first of all, what was the need after 1986 bill? See, in 1986 our market was very closed economy. We were a very closed economy, and in 1991 LPG reforms took place. So there was a dire need to amend the bill and to bring something new for consumers, right? So see, now this bill seeks to establish a national level regulator, so that is CCPA. We will talk in detail about this, and this bill contains many key provisions like to deal with class actions, product liability, misleading advertisements, liability for celebrity endorsement. This is very important here. So we will talk about all these in detail. Now, what was the requirement to bring in this bill? So let's discuss that. See, the earlier legislation was not keeping pace with the new market dynamics, which were multi-layered. Like now we have multi-layered delivery chains and often misleading advertising and marketing machinery. So this was one of the reasons. Next, you can say e-commerce, like need for new provisions to deal with the fast changing technological and market dynamics, especially e-commerce. So this was another reason. Now the act does not grant the authority to proceed against any person. So here I am talking about which act? 1986. Okay, 1986. So that act does not grant the authority to proceed against any person who was guilty of violation under the act. So penal steps could be taken only through a judicial process before the state or district consumer redressal forums. So this was the earlier scenario. Now this has been made strong in the present bill. Administrative issues. See, these forums, the forums I talked about in the 1986 Act, they were plagued by administrative issues and consumers were being made to suffer for an average of 5 years to get their grievances redressed. So the issue has been handled in the present bill. So let's talk about a little bit in detail about what are the consumer rights here and what do we mean by product liability. So see, this bill defines basically what are consumer rights. So there are like 6 consumer rights which have been included here. One is right to be protected against marketing of goods and services which are hazardous to life and property. Then it is also the right to be informed about quality, then quantity, then potency and purity, standard and price of goods. So this has been included here. And next is right to be assured of access to variety of goods, products or services at competitive prices. So you can compare in the market, so there will be no monopoly here. In the present bill, it states that. It also includes the right to be heard and to be assured that the consumer's interest will receive due consideration at appropriate fora. And next is to seek redressal against unfair and restrictive trade practices, or in the end you can say it is also providing you the right to consumer awareness. So many consumer rights are included here. Next, if we talk about what is product liability here, so this bill basically have provisions for product liability action on account of harm that is caused to consumers due to defective product. In a lot of cases it happens that there is even it happened with our vice president also. What happened, he ordered a medicine to reduce weight through online mechanisms, but that medicine never arrived although he had made payment for that particular medicine also. So redressal is something which is included in this bill, right? So for example, what here about product liability, let me tell you, this is, for example, I give you a consumer can sue the cab aggregator if the taxi comes late and as a result he misses his scheduled flight. Also, the case can be filed from anywhere. This is a good step here, unlike the existing law which allowed the consumer to register the complaint only from the same place of purchase of product or where the service is availed, right? So this has been included here. Next, as told you here, like the CCPA, this is authority to direct the removal of misleading advertisement, to take punitive action such as imprisonment or imposing penalties on the advertiser and seller. So this is the main regulator. This is a new body which has been introduced now, CCPA. You need to remember this. Okay, now we'll talk about provisions of the bill in detail. So see, this new bill includes the establishment of executive agency, as I told you again, CCPA, which will protect and enforce the right of consumers. So this is very important, CCPA, because this is new body included in this bill. This is a regulator of it will act as a regulator. So the new bill, it also includes stringent provisions to tackle misleading advertisements as well as to fix liability on endorsers and celebrities. So for example, if there is a celebrity, he's endorsing a misleading advertisement, there will be penalty for them also. Next, this bill contains an enabling provision for consumers to file complaints electronically. This is a good provision. We are making use of technology here. The bill has provision of product liability, and I have discussed the product liability in detail with you. Alright, so and it provides enough powers to regulatory authority to recall products. So if there is a chance of product liability and there is a defect in product, the authority can recall the products in that case, and they can cancel licenses if a consumer complaint affects more than one individual. Next, the power to take action of damage caused by product will act as a deterrent for the manufacturers also, since the liability quotient has increased in the present bill. Now the provisions aimed at simplifying the consumer dispute resolution, they also, so when we talk about consumer dispute resolution, see what all is included here. The enhancing the pecuniary jurisdiction of the consumer grievances redress agencies. Next is the powers to state and district commissions to review their orders. So now the powers have been distributed among district, state and national levels, right? And then they have set up a recruit bench in order to facilitate quicker disposal of the complaints. And next is consumer mediation cells. This is very important because this bill has proposed, now it has been passed obviously, so they have they earlier proposed and now to set up a consumer mediation cells which will be attached to the redressal commissions at the district, state and national levels, right? This will further help reduce the backlog of cases also and lessen the strain on the redressal forum. So one of the main purpose to bring in this bill was also delay in proposals, delay in disposals. Okay, so there were a lot of cases pending. Now this can help to reduce them, and new challenges obviously. And the thing I talked about, celebrity endorsement, if they endorse a product, defective product or a misleading advertisement, the celebrity has to give a fine of up to 50 lakh, right? And even they can be prisoned for 3 to 5 years. So this is included here as a very strong step. Now we will compare the, although provisions are very important, this until if you have watched until the video has a main message of the features of this bill, but now we would like to compare like what was Consumer Protection Act 1986 and how the present bill is different from it, right? So for that we will talk. Firstly, if we talk about ambit of law, so we will take two cases here, 1986 and then the 2018. So what was in 1986? All goods and services for consideration. So here only things was goods and services, right? While free and personal services were excluded. Same here, free and personal services are excluded here. Here you have goods and services But what is extra here? It includes telecom, housing construction, and all modes of transaction, whether it is online or offline or it is tele shopping. So everything is included in it, comes under the ambit of law. So you see there are less provisions at 1986. Now if we talk about unfair trade practices, so what it was at 1986 and what is there in 2018? See, it includes 6 types of such practices. For example, if there is a false representation, there are misleading advertisements, and 2018 bill 3 new such type of practices are included. For example, if someone fails to give you a bill or a receipt, right, and if there is a refusal to accept a good returned within 30 days, and then disclosure of personal information given in confidence, so that is included in 2018. Now we will talk about product liability. There was no provision in 1986 for this, but in 2018 we have provisions like claim for product liability can be made against manufacturer, service provider or the seller, right? So compensation can be obtained by proving one of the several specified conditions in the bill. So this is very important. Now unfair contracts, for them in 1986 there was no provision, but as per 2018 bill, they have defined like what are contracts, defined as contracts that cause significant change in consumer rights. So they list 6 contract terms which may be held as unfair. So they have specified it now. Then CPCs, that is Central Protection Councils. So in 1986, CPCs promote and protect the rights of consumers. They were established at district, state and national level. So what is the difference in 2018? The new bill makes CPCs advisory bodies. So they have made them only advisory bodies now, because they have made a new body CCPA which will act as regulator. So their role have reduced to just being a advisory body, but there is an issue. They have not defined to whom they will advise now, right? So yes, CPCs will be established at district, state and national level. So regulator, as I told you, in 1986 there was no provision. In 2018 it established CCPA. So again and again I am telling you about CCPA, that is Central Consumer Protection Authority. This will promote, protect and enforce the rights of consumers as a class. And even CCPA may issue safety notices. They will pass orders to recall goods. They will prevent unfair practices and reimburse purchase price. They will impose penalties for false and misleading advertisements. So this regulator will do all this work, right? Now if we talk about this appointment here, see, in 1986 selection committee that was comprising a judicial member and other officials will recommend members in the commissions. But in 2018 no provision for selection committee is there. Central government will appoint through notification, right? So earlier there was a provision, but now it depends upon central government. So what are the alternate dispute redressal mechanisms? So in 1986 there was no such mechanism. In 2008 I told you there are mediation cells which will be attached to district, state and national commissions. And then if we talk about penalties, so 1986 it is 1986, if a person does not comply with orders of the commissions, he may face imprisonment between 1 month or 3 years or fine between 2,000 to 10,000 or both. But in 2018, if a person does not comply with orders of the commissions, he may face imprisonment up to 3 years or a fine not less than 25,000. So it is extendable to both 1 lakh or both. Now if we talk about e-commerce, there was no provision in 1986, but in 2018 bill it defines direct selling, e-commerce and electronic service provider, right? So the central government may prescribe rules for preventing unfair trade practices in e-commerce and direct selling. So you have seen they have increased the ambit of this law under this provision, ambit of the law, which is Consumer Rights Bill. So you can compare 1986 what was there in 2018, what all have been added. So this is very important for your prelims and mains and any other government examination. In objectives it can be asked, its features can be asked, so you should be well aware. So if you have any questions, you can ask me, and the PDF will be uploaded on my Telegram channel. Thank you.